The House will come to order. I'm pleased to welcome you to the Iron B. Antonio College Debate 2021. The topic being debated is whether the first Mass in the Philippines happened in butuan or limasawa. Every speaker will be given enough time. To begin with, here is the Prime Minister of the government.
The motion of the government before the House today is the same as declared in the Republic Act 2733, that the first Mass in the Philippines took place in an Easter Sunday on the island of Limasawa. Our first argument, as described, Butuan is a riverine settlement and situated in Agusan River. If Magellan expedition were there and it was where the first Mass occurred, then why is there no mention of a river? It can be said that Mazao is an island and surrounded by the sea, not by a river. Pegapeta knew what is an island when he saw one, and so do we. Second argument, Antonio Pegapeta was the account used by opposing parties of primary sources. The Ambrosian text, the complete and original version, and the Fabri Romosio text, altered version, to which pro-Butuan propagandists based their research. And so we stand firmly with our motion that Masao is indeed the island of Limasawa.
And now, let's hear from the leader of opposition.
In response to the first speaker, passing a law is not a substantial evidence, knowing that it was not even approved by the executives and had no scientific as well. Thus, we firmly believe that the Maswa Butuan is the venue of the first Mass here in the Philippines. When we are going to take a look on the accounts of Pegapeta and Albu, the word Limasawa was not mentioned at all. So, how come you conclude that it was where in the first Mass was held? Also, we have the island name Mazwa, a 2-3 syllable, which is much closer to the word Masawa. It is essential to correct history which is backed up by scientific evidence, wherein according to Butuan City Cultural and Historical Foundation and Butuan government, then 1,600-year-old balanghay boats were found in 1976 near Maswa River, which is located in Butuan City. On the other hand, after the celebration of the first Mass, they stayed in a place for 7 days and held in the harvest for 2 days. That means to say, what can you harvest from a typhoon-prone area that easily affected by flood, like Limasawa? So, we firmly believe that the first Mass was held in Masawa, Butuan, and not in Limasawa later.
And now, let's hear from the Deputy Prime Minister.
Going to the party Prime Minister's scientific voice, it should also be noted that the cross is not found anywhere near Butuan but on separate island of Masawa. Also, geographical evidence are showing that the place or island where the mass of place was in Limasawa, from the lag of Albo, a pilot from Magellan flagship Trinidad, from the island of Homonon and the large island of Silani, or which now known as Leyte. They come up with the island they have called Masawa, which lies at latitude of 9 and 2 degrees north. Moreover, as described by Pigapita, the route of the expedition coincides substantially with what is described in the lag of Albo. Pigapita also has sketches of the island they have been to. 3 maps were mentioned: the island of Samar, the island of Limasawa, and the island of Mindanao respectively. So we stand firmly on our motion that the first Mass happened on the island of Limasawa.
And now, let's hear from the Deputy Officer of the Opposition.
An accuracy of the map and the calculation of the exact location of the island of Mazao is questionable evidence to claim that the first Mass happened in Limasawa. If the geographical features say its Masao has its great quantity of goats, pigs, and many more, and more especially rice fields and gold mines. Masawa has it all richly, and Limasawa, a small and poor island who lacks it especially in the presence of fertile rice fields and abundance of gold. And again, the presence of Balanghay boats in Butuan is the most sufficient evidence to prove that the birthplace of Christianity in the Philippines is none other than but in Masawa, Butuan.
And now let's hear from the whip of the government.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I repeat, will stand with our motion before the House of the first Mass in the Philippines happened in Limasawa because of the following evidence. In a logbook by Francisco Albo and Pigapita's account, the geographical evidence were showing that Masawa is roughly equivalent to the actual position of Limasawa. The two kings when Magellan visited in the island of King Macau and of Butuan. The fact known that the latter is visitor of Macau and his territory is on Butuan, which is another island, so it can be said that Macau is not in Butuan. Butuan is situated in Agusan River and near in delta of the river is a beach called Macau, where it is argued that the first mass occurred. The evidence that there's no river mentioned in Pigapita's account that Macau is the island provides is surrounding by the sea and not a river delta. An anti-Limasawa was propaganda colon and combos. The original complete texts were not be available to them at the time. The Pabri Ramosio text is what they use as translator at greatly misrepresented an alternative Sampax.
And now let's hear from the deputy officer of the opposition.
As my team member mentioned, there are a lot of things that can be questionable, such as the inaccuracy of map as well as the geographical location. Moreover, when it is stated in the accounts of Figafita that its description was favorable on the side of Butuan because it was rich island, while Limasawa does not because it was an area that was prone to typhoons and floods. In addition, the word Limasawa was not stated in the accounts of Alvo and Figafita. Instead, we have the word Mazao, which is much closer to the word Mazao and not Limasawa. How come that passing a law could be a substantial evidence when was not approved by executives? Even the presence of gold mines can be found in Butuan. Also, the most sufficient evidence that could be found in Butuan was the presence of Balanghay boats, which only proves that the first mass really happened in Butuan.